Sweet. Alright, what's up? It's Odin. I'm here with Psi Gaming's NYK. Gonna do a little interview. Awesome. So just do some intros. I'm just amateur journalist in the scene. And we'd count him as a semi-pro. You'd count yourself as a semi-pro, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, I guess we'd start out, how'd you get into SC2? I think it's a pretty cool story. You can just go back to, just gaming in general as a kid and just kind of into that.
All right, so I started off when I was 13 with console games because I think everyone kind of starts with console and no one really goes straight to PC. I played a lot of FPSs and stuff like that, and then when I got into middle school, I started playing a lot more console because that's what everyone else was playing. Started off with League, which unfortunately I did decent in that. And then halfway through the year, I started playing Brood War with couple of my buddies while in class. And after that, I just got so hooked on it, I started hopping into watching professional matches, and eventually I bought the game and started playing it out. And now I'm here.
Do you remember any of the first matches you tuned in on and stuff? Do you think it was overwhelming when you first saw the pros play? I remember my first games of Starcraft 2, I was like, what is going on? There's Zerglings rolling around that explode, and these medevacs are boosting. It was a lot to take in at first. So,
to be honest, I was just so excited to actually watch some professional gaming because you don't hear about that a lot.
No, not at all. It's hard to get into.
Yeah. So, I think my favorite match, I can't remember. That's a while ago. And some of them don't even play anymore.
Do you think it was a Zerg for sure that you were watching?
Oh, it was one of J-Dong's old matches. I can remember that.
That's good.
But I can't remember the exact one.
Sweet. So, I don't know, I guess, when did you feel like you kind of became semi-pro, solidified that?
I think I kind of solidified that maybe midway through last year. I've always, other than Psystorm, I've only been on 2 other teams, and the other team was IVD Gaming, which is also another professional team.
That's what's up.
So I got to practice and learn a lot from them. So I would probably solidify my semi-professional career started when I started on Psystorm, which was about a year and a half ago, around that.
Very cool, man. You got the jersey and everything.
Yeah.
And then you played, it was lacrosse, right?
Yep.
So what happened with that college thing that,
Still debating it, whether it's school or it's gaming or it's both. It really depends on how this year turns out for me with school.
So how'd you get into lacrosse and playing that at a high level?
So I've always been playing athletics when I was young. My parents got me into that with soccer and then hockey and played that for a bit. And then I started lacrosse when I was around 7, and I've been playing it since. And I never thought I was actually good enough to play it at a university NCAA level until I got scouted, which was really, I thought I could play hockey at an NCAA level, but I dropped it. It just got too...
Hockey's insane. Alright, we're back live. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we're talking about playing hockey at a high level. You got scouted for the lacrosse. And just kind of how, being torn between that and, esports, it's tough. It's a tough decision.
To be honest, I'm probably leaning more towards the athletics and school side right now.
Because, Starcraft's not going anywhere,
It's not even that. I just feel like I don't get enough time to practice, and in the environment I'm in now, the practice I do play is not, it's not that I'm not benefiting from it, because I practice with my teammates and stuff like that. It's just I don't get the time to practice as much as I probably should have, compared to other semi-pros and full-time people. So that puts me at a disadvantage right away. And it's I'm not living in the team house, so that's another thing. A lot of people that play at a professional level are living in team houses and stuff like that, and they have people that actually play the game that surround them, and you can always help out each other that way.
No, it's a huge benefit for sure. Um, so I guess I really want to talk about King of the North because I thought that was super cool, like watching you play.
Hmm.
All right, back again. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so King of the North. What do you feel about that? How's that? I
It was
know
great.
you got to hang out with some buddies. I think we have someone everyone would love to hear about.
It was great. It's not Queen of the North, but uh, the first day was held at like an esports bar or LAN center, but it's more like a restaurant slash bar
Okay.
with just a bunch of good PCs and chick gaming stuff set around it. Um, it's good. I went up to the qualifying match to play against Scarlet and just got my ass handed to me, which the first game was okay. Like I thought I had a chance and it was close. I made a couple mistakes, and that to me lost me the game. And the second game was just one-sided. But getting to play against people like that for like a qualifying spot for the actual main tournament was nice. I got to talk to a lot of my buddies like Kelezer, Kawaiian, Up a Tree, Jason, and
Shout
Massa, Poke
outs.
Bunny. But it's like you get to see people you don't really get to see often, especially for me because I live in Canada and there's not many big events happening in Canada. So I would always have to travel to the States. And right now, as a student, that's hard to do. So,
And when you're trying to play all the time, so getting to like
yeah,
meet everybody in that one spot is pretty cool. Um,
yeah.
anyone from Psi Storm come over?
We had Up a Tree, who's one of our streamers. And then we have a guy named Frostbite, also named Marty, who lives in Montreal, that helps out at Meltdown and does a bunch of articles and stuff like that. I recently did also another interview with him, uh, but that was all typing and stuff like that. It wasn't
Okay,
video.
I'll have to check that out.
It's not posted yet. He'd tell me when it's posted. He hasn't told me, so.
So something I really liked is I can't remember the pro toss now, but I came in, I like just woke up, and I saw the King of the North was on. I was like, oh man, I gotta check out this dude. And I see you're playing. I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. And it was on Frozen Temple, and you're sitting on like 3 to 4 base, just holding off that little ramp, and all the casters are just like, why is the Protoss attacking into this? And it's just like this duel in the middle. And I remember asking you after the game, you just felt like if I could just get some infestors out, like I'd have the
Yeah.
game.
If I had at least two infestors, I would have won that game. That was probably the better game out of it. Uh, but yeah, two infestors would have won me that game. I can't really do much about that. Like he eventually got Storm out, which won him the game,
Yeah, yeah, that was rough.
because then he could somewhat engage up that ramp, even if I did have the concave. Uh, but it was a good series. I had fun.
No,
Creature's a really good Protoss too.
it was Creature, that was it. And then I remember game 2, you went for the proxy hatch on the gold base. That was super fun.
Yeah.
Everyone in chat was going nuts. We were loving it. It should have worked, man. It should have worked. So I don't
Oh,
know.
I wish it worked.
I just think it's cool that you're pulling out those type of strats. Like a lot of people just play it safe as hell. You know what I mean? Like not trying to
Yeah.
go for crazy plays. So
Yeah.
that's cool. So I guess we talked about getting into Starcraft 2. We got some King of the North out of there. Is there anything else about like balancing school life and Starcraft that you feel like talk about? Like maybe somebody else out there that's kind of up and coming, or I don't know, like any advice for people? Like, do you like maybe I don't know? It's tough. It's really tough to tell people to like, oh, you should play Starcraft and like go pro. You know what I mean?
Well, it really depends when you start and how good you start at the game. Like at your starting level.
Uh-huh.
Like usually everyone starts in bronze, and that's just expected. Like even I started in bronze, but if you constantly progressing every season and you're doing that, like if I started playing the game when I was like 13, 14, I'd be so much better than I am now.
Right.
Like there's this I think he's French. There's this Terran named Clem who's like 14 years old, who's beating players like True and stuff like that
No
on
way.
ladder.
That's crazy.
So it's like with him, he can do it because it's not like he has to worry about school as much
No, absolutely.
right at that moment. and like he can already plan that he can just go through high school or whatever they have over there and then go into StarCraft because he's already at that level. He can play top tier. So it's kind of like a mini Neeb, almost like a mini Neeb
Yeah,
coming up.
you read my mind exactly. Because I didn't realize how young Neeb was. You know, he like just got out of high school this year,
Yeah,
right? Like,
Neeb's my age.
that's crazy, man. So about the Kespa Cup, dude, I have a lot to talk about. Like how did you
Hmm.
feel about that as a Zerg? First off, man, like, did you feel like your Zerg buddies could have been done more? Like, it was just heavy link style all day. Like, okay, True did crazy. True was amazing, but like the other Zergs, I felt like I don't know, man. It just seemed like such a Protoss tourney.
To be honest, I only watched True and Pet,
That's what's
and then
up.
I only watched Pet because Pet beat True.
Yeah, Pet's good, dude.
Um, yeah, like I just when I was watching the series of Pet versus Neeb, I was just thinking, why does Zerg have to like cheese or do some early pressure or something just to get an advantage to be able to win the game in a macro game afterwards?
Totally. You should be able to stay relatively even. It seems really tough.
Like, I feel like even in a macro game, unless the Protoss screws up somewhere or they're all inning or they're doing a certain pressure that doesn't do enough, much damage, even if it doesn't, they still somehow end up ahead. Like,
Just
even if they do their normal 3 gate, 4 gate, 6 adepts, 8 adepts pressure, they're still not behind,
yeah. See,
even if they don't get any drone kills.
it seems like you have to build so many lings to hold that off, and then you have to like build a ton of drones, and it's just this.
Yeah,
It seems so extreme in either ways, where you should be able to just build a few drones, a few lings, you know, like in some scenarios. Like, I
yeah.
totally see that.
But it's kind of hard right now. Like the meta's like weird. Like it went from Ling, like Hydra Ling Bane into like Ling Bane into like now it's Ravager Ling Bane. So it's like it's really Ling Bane heavy right now.
Yeah, which is gas crazy.
So because you don't see a lot of Roach Hydra because a lot of them still a lot of Protosses still go what Immortal is gonna affect how you play.
Makes a lot of sense. So, you mentioned Jadong. Do you think there's like a void of like top tier Zergs that everyone's getting inspiration from? Like even like Life being gone, like I don't know. Like have you ever thought about any like Ling Hydra timings anymore? Like I remember he used to do those all the day. Like is it just not the same anymore with Legacy of the Void?
Like Ling Hydra lurker timings were a thing
Okay,
before.
the like Phoenix did just pick him up. Like what do you do? I don't know.
Yeah, before like it used to be in the meta when we're the Ruins of Endion map pool was still out.
Okay, yeah, that one was pretty gnarly.
Um, and you could do a Ling Hydra lurker timing, and it's just changed because Protoss has started doing like an eight adept, 8 gate adept, or like a 4 gate adept into a third or stuff like that to put on a lot of pressure. And when you go Ling Hydra or like a Ling Hydra lurker timing, you're teching up really fast, so you can't really defend as well. Or if you do defend, it's you have to invest a lot into units, and that's why on maps like Ruins of Endion and like the bigger maps it works out okay. But on this map pool, it doesn't really work out as well as it did on the others. And it's just like it's constantly changing. Like I probably could pull it back and win a couple games, but most of them versus like high level players wouldn't work.
Because they're used to the meta, they like recognize it and be like, okay, I remember. Like,
Yeah.
um, kind of to go off on a tangent, but did you play the Brood War Zerg a bit? Like, alright, so we were just talking about like mutas and StarCraft 2, and like I don't know, maybe we can see how we're getting the siege tanks buffed like Brood War style. Why can't we get maybe like stronger mutas that I don't know if it's just how they clump or something, but I wish they would just have way more fear on the map. You know, like how do you feel about that? Do you think it's like gas cost or just
It's really unit based because in Heart of the Swarm you always see mutas come out, even if there's like Phoenix. Yeah, not as much versus Phoenix, but you'd still see it a decent amount. And versus Terran, you'd always see like mutiling Bane. But when Legacy of the Void out with Liberators, since they do that extra damage to light and with the splash damage, if your mutas clump up like they normally do, because they just auto clump, if you don't spread them yourself, the Liberators, if you have like 5 Liberators, you almost one shot a pack of 30 mutas, no matter the upgrades.
damn?
It's stupid, but like with the changes that they're bringing without like they're taking the +1 light or whatever it is and splash damage off the deliberators. So you're gonna see a lot more mutas, especially when there's no tankovacs, because you're gonna need mutas to come like swoop in from the back line and make sure you're picking off those tanks, because your lings will get one-shotted easily.
Do you feel like maybe we should focus more on maps too? Like, do you feel like there's certain maps that Zerg favors a lot? Because I think if you can get to that comfortable late, maybe like 4 to 5 hatches, you can get some like Vipers, some Corruptors. Like, you have a lot more tools. But up until that late game point, it just seems like everyone else has all this tech that they can just rush at you, and you just have to have a bunch of Lings or a bunch of Roaches or something. Is that kind of true, or would you like to see more bigger maps, or do you kind of like how it is now?
I think every Zerg likes big maps for macro playstyles. It just gives you a lot more freedom and a lot more time to defend and be greedy and stuff like that. Like a lot of the maps throughout Legacy of the Void have been smaller, relatively small compared to Heart of the Swarm. But we'll see, like with the upcoming seasons and what maps they're gonna change and stuff like that. Like I know that the Frozen Temple needs to get out of the map pool. It's been in there for 2 years,
Yeah, that's a long time.
so it's kind of haven't changed it, which is kind of frustrating. Like they've changed the map physically and stuff, like taking out watchtowers and stuff, which was stupid.
It's too
But
tiny.
it, that fact that they haven't taken the whole map out of the map pool kind of is frustrating.
Alright, so kind of just going from the Kespit Cup to the whole Zerg meta, just because I think it's interesting. You know, you're a Zerg player. I wanted to hear your thoughts. But so Neve winning the Kespit Cup, man. Like, did that honestly surprise you? It surprised me so much. Like,
Not really.
you saw it coming.
Yeah.
What,
After
just seeing the form of
stats.
players, or
Well, no, after it was it stats versus TY or stats versus Maru?
I think.
I think it was stats versus Maru.
Okay.
Yeah, it was stats versus Maru because TY was already through. But it was if Maru won that game, I think Neeb would have had a harder run in Kespa Cup. But since stats won, Neeb's PvP is insane.
Yeah, his PvP is really good. It's crazy.
So I think it was just like not a freebie. But it was pretty convincingly won.
Do you think? I don't want to say people are like overrating it, but I really feel like a lot of North Americans are just over it. Like, oh, we did it, we beat the Koreans, and I feel like there's so much more to go for. You know, like we could establish dominance, win more tournaments. Like we could get the first Zerg to win a tournament. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more. I feel like people should be more hyped up because I just feel like everyone's just like worn out. You know, like we just got the hype. We just got our movie. It's crazy.
Well, it really depends. Well, like with BlizzCon coming up, that's going to be the main thing,
Yeah, that'll be huge.
which we'll see the Koreans versus the foreigners and stuff like that. Because like even Nurchio and Marine Lord and who was the last one?
True, true.
Sure. Was it true? No.
He was.
Did he qualify through NA?
I'm pretty positive.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't count him as a foreigner, but
Right.
okay. Well, like, because Nurchio and Marine Lord are pretty good for foreigners, and like Nurchio especially.
Yeah, he was tearing
And
it up, man.
the fact that they didn't qualify through their groups is pretty interesting, and Neeb was the only one to. But Neeb's been over there for like I don't know how long, I forget. I've been talking to Jake recently. I haven't been talking to Jake recently, but he's been over there for a while practicing on ladder and practicing with them, compared to like Nurchio and Marine Lord who are not. It's not like they're living there playing against those players constantly on ladder and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just think it's so impressive that it's just proof that the Koreans aren't some like Super Saiyan like race. You know what I mean? Like it's just dedicated practice, like in a serious environment. And it's just crazy the Europeans can't like catch up in their own. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not into it, so I'm like not there. You know, like I'm just a fan, like observing.
I think the main difference really is their playing environment, because they take it as a profession, like a job over there, compared to where in North America and Europe it's not a technical job. You don't get an employment card or something like that. Like they have to win a tournament or whatever, I forget what it is, to actually get like a professional card that allows them to play and stuff. Like Caspa Cup or stuff like GSL and stuff like that, and be on the Caspa teams. And even those I've heard are really stacked to get them.
Have you seen that J-Dong interview with Thornin where he talks about going through Courage, like that amateur tournament in Korea?
Yeah, Courage is the one to get your professional license.
Yeah, and he went through it like 9 times before he won. Like, it's crazy,
Yep.
man. Like, they're ruthless out there.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen that interview.
I'd recommend it, man. It's pretty good. That's like the reason I got into Starcraft. Yeah, so I don't know. I think the whole Neeb win is super cool. It brings a lot of hope for North America.
Yeah.
Anything else to talk about, man? I'm pretty much out of questions.
I don't know. Well, I'm looking forward to BlizzCon, seeing what's going to happen there, especially since True's going to be playing in it. It's going to be really interesting.
Who else is in there? True, Neeb.
Depending on like how the groups turn out, like the group's already out, but depending on who gets through and stuff is really going to. I think Neeb could win it, to be honest.
Beyond's going to shut him down in the groups. No, I'm kidding.
To be honest, I think Neeb or Beyond will win BlizzCon.
I think Beyond's going to come back because he looked so upset when he got knocked out of the Kespa Cup, dude. Like he's.
Oh yeah, probably.
He's going to tear it up.
He's actually streaming, I think, right now still.
Damn.
He was. I don't know if he still is.
Yeah, I guess any final thoughts just on what it's like to be a semi-pro like StarCraft gamer, man? This is what the interview's about, like getting to know you. I think it's cool. I think it's cool as fuck, dude. Like, I think it's super cool.
I think the best thing about it is being with the community and being around the players that actually play professionally and be able to talk to them on like a friend-to-friend basis and like not like a fan. Like you get those people that like you want to talk to them about the game and how like it's turning out, but they won't give you the time of day because you're not of their somewhat caliber, or you could say certain things that might sound stupid in their eyes, which you don't think is, and other people might not. So kind of having the title as a semi-professional is really good. So I'm able to talk to people like that. And it's kind of an achievement. Like I know a couple of my friends actually wanted to play video games professionally and stuff like that, and being like one of the only ones to somewhat do it is kind of really heartwarming.
No, it's super cool, man.
Oh yeah, I guess shout outs to you, of course.
Esports, what's up?
Shout outs to Psystorm Gaming, of course, my team, all of our sponsors and stuff like that. Make sure you hit up all of them. If you want to check me out, Twitter at Psi NYK capital P. Twitch is NYK_SC. I might stream tonight, or actually probably not tonight, probably tomorrow.
I can throw that in the description too for you.
That'd be lovely. I don't have a YouTube. There's nothing for me to like. I could post VODs, but there's no point. If you want to watch the VODs, you can watch them on Twitch. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what's coming up in StarCraft and how it's going to turn out this year.
Cool.
And with that, it's going to be fun.
Alright, well, we'll probably see more of you soon, man. Thanks for the video.
Hopefully. No problem.
Alright, take it easy, Spencer.
You too.
Peace.
Peace.